Nearly didn't have me sell to the stage there. Sorry about that, people. But here we go. So Urfan Sharif has been or is being protected inside of Frankland prison. Now, I was going to do another story today, but I've seen this one pop up and it has been making headlines. And I just thought I would come on, clear a few things up and tell you my version of, well, not a version of events, but the way that I think it is going down. Because as you're all well aware, the papers do like to exaggerate these type of stories, but I'm just going to put it up so you can see here. There we go. Hellhole jail. Sarah Sharif's evil dad under protection of Muslim gang in Monster Mansion prison after tuna lid attack in cell. So that is the fucking disgusting piece of shit there. And as you're well aware, he is serving life with a minimum of 40 years for that attack on Sarah Sharif, or Sarah Sharif. I keep saying her name wrong, but it is actually Sarah Sharif. So he got attacked. 2 seconds, I'll take this picture off because you don't want to look at that ugly mug. He got attacked in HMP Belmarsh on New Year's Day of Steve Sansom, someone who was serving life without parole, and he got opened up with a jagged tuna can lid. Nice piece of equipment inside the prison. Now, a lot of people were talking about this as well and saying they don't use cans inside a prison anymore. There's any amount of tools you can use inside a prison: tuna can lids, Marvel tin lids, even the tins of fruit. You used to get tins of fruit, but it's them ring pull lids. They're lethal. What they do with them is fold them over and use the other edge, use the sharp edge of it. So he has been transferred up into HMP Frankland, and it is saying Muslim gang protecting Urfan Sharif, which it's not the Muslims on normal location, because this is the way that they're trying to put this across. But as you can imagine, the likes of Levi Bellfield, who was also a Muslim, is in there. So this is what it says. A tough gang of Muslim lads, including terrorist inmates of Category A, County Durham, have put the word around that no one should attack Sharif or they will take revenge, according to insiders. Sharif has not been touched at Frankland, and it is largely down to this Muslim gang. They are on the same wing as him, and they have put the word around that he is not to be touched. And these are the Muslims who are on the wing with him are also bacons. Now, I will quickly tell you what a bacon is, because a lot of people who are new to the channel still don't know. But a bacon is a nonce. Bacon bonce equals nonce. Now, a lot of people will be saying this is quite comical, calling Muslims bacon when Muslims don't like bacon. But they're all classed as bacons, the one that are in for those type of offences. And look at who I was mentioning. Where is 2 seconds? I was going to put the thumbnail up on here, what I'm going to use. So 2 seconds, because Levi Bellfield is in Frankland prison, and he'll be on the same wing as him. Muslim gang protecting Urfan Sharif. So there's the Muslim bodyguard. What an absolute piece of shit he is as well. Levi Bellfield. We all know what he's about. And he converted to Islam. And he's now Muslim in there. And the likes of these, I've mentioned previously, are on, what's it called? On the air, on house block? No, sorry, air wing, because it's not house blocks. Getting confused there, because a lot of the prisons are house blocks or wings. He is on air wing with the likes of Huntley, Bellfield, Wayne Cousins, and a lot of other Muslim prisoners who are in for S offences, who are bacons, who have murdered little ones, and who have harried women, then murdered them. These are the type of Muslims, the brotherhood that is on that wing. So when the papers are putting this across, people are thinking that he's on normal location, he's being protected, by the Muslim gangs, because the Muslim gangs inside the high security prisons are the biggest gang in there. And they have a stronghold on the high security estate because there is that many of them, and they do all stick together. But these ones are obviously separated from the normal location of the Muslims. These are on the VP wings, the vulnerable prisoner. So just because they're Muslim and they're in for this type of offence doesn't mean they're going to be accepted by the other Muslim inmates who are on the normal location. So what I'm going to do, 2 seconds, I'm just going to get this article up. You'll not be able to see, but I'm going to read it and see what it says today. So it says, 2 seconds, I'll just put his picture back up actually whilst I read this, so you don't see my eyes going backwards and forwards. Right, where are we at? Media. So I'll put that back on, 2 seconds, whilst I read this. So Sharif has spent most of his time locked in his cell at Frankland and is usually escorted by prison officers when he takes exercise or goes for food. He has grown his hair and lost weight so that he is painfully thin. Frankland is dubbed Monster Mansions and it houses killers including Bellfield, Huntley, Cousins, Mark Dixie, who murdered Sally Ann Bowman, and other inmates, it says, include Lee Rigby killer, Michael Adebayo, terrorist Darren Barrett. But obviously Darren Barrett was on normal location. He was in Frankland when I was there. Michael Adebayo, I believe he's now in Full Sutton. But again, he was on the terrorist wing inside of Frankland prison. And Sharif was moved there after he had his throat and face slashed with a jagged tuna can lid on New Year's Day at the high security Belmarsh prison. And he is serving life with a minimum term of 40 years inside of prison. 2 seconds, let's get his fucking ugly mug back off the screen. You can see my lovely mutt. So he is serving life with a minimum of 40 years. And the man that got a hold of him, or the other beast, the other predator, because like I say, when these are getting attacked inside a prison, it's always off the other beasties. And the other beast that attacked him inside of HMP Belmarsh was Steve Sansom. And I'd done a video on him previously. He was back in on a second murder when he took a woman back to his flat, him and his then girlfriend, his new girlfriend, persuaded a woman to come back to the flat, absolutely butchered her, chopped her up, disposed of her round of London. He got life without parole, and he was the one that got a hold of Urfan Sharif. And this is what I've spoke about previously, about 2 wrongs making a right. Inside a jail, everyone, you get that saying, 2 wrongs don't make a right. But in the case of Bacon's, 2 wrongs always make a right when they inflict prison justice on each other. Because one wronging is seriously hurt, and another wronging is then put in segregation for years and time added on to his sentence, unless he takes the other person's life, which has happened in cases that I've done on here previously with the likes of Richard Huckle, who was murdered off another Bacon. So again, that was 2 wrongs that made a right. Huckle was no more, and the other Bacon got another life sentence added on, so he'll not be walking the streets attacking defenseless women and kids. So 2 wrongs made a right. But I just thought I would come on and put that statement, what they're putting across on here. 2 seconds, I'll see if I can find the other one. That he's being protected by an Islamist gang in jail dubbed Monster Mansion. That gang is also a gang of predators, a gang of Bacons, all exactly the same as him. And it's not the ones who are on main location, because the main location Muslims won't have this beast on the wing with them. Even though a lot of people think the likes of him, and I am, what's he called, that other fucking little rat, that Axel Rudicabana, people will be saying they'll be accepted. They'll be accepted by the Muslims on the Bacon wings, the VP wings, but they'll not be accepted by the Muslims on the normal location wings. Right, people, I will do a little bit of interacting now with the subscribers. Here's a look. Ross, how are you doing, pal? He says Huckle is a horrible case beginning to end. Absolute disgusting. I've done a couple of videos on him previously. Tuna can. I can't even afford that. How do they afford such luxury? Well, you can actually buy the tuna flakes, and believe you me, the price of fucking tuna flakes, £1 out of tin, you can get them out here for about 19 pence in some places. So they're not living in luxury. Believe you me, I've been there. So Muchi says, but all Muslims stick up for each other. Not the Muslims on the normal location wings. A lot of people are under the impression that they do, but if they did, why would these be on the VP wings? They would all just be mixed in together. If they did look out for them, they wouldn't be down on the VP wings. They would all be on the same wing together. So Alex says they'll give him a little bit of protection for money, but I don't think anyone's going to take a shiv for him. Definitely not. And like I've mentioned previously, someone will get a hold of him, because look at all the other bacons that have been done in. The likes of Huntley. Bellfield has been attacked, but not as severe as the rest. And they're all looking over the shoulders all the time. Just because they might be feeling like they're protected now, someone at some point will get them throughout their sentence. Right. Jade, how we doing? Hope you're keeping well. Shouldn't waste the taxpayers' money. And this is another thing people keep asking me on here as well about the death penalty and whether or not I believe in it. Cases like this, anyone who has the capacity to harm a child like that, then most definitely I do believe that punishment should be brought back for these type of offenders. That anyone that hurts a child should face that sort of justice. Right, I'm just having a flick through these comments, people. So, old school Pete says, and how are we to believe if the authorities allowed them a normal wing, they wouldn't choose to defend them, same as in the Beast Hall? Well, they do get the option when they land in the high security prisons, if they wanted to go on normal location wings. And the authorities, they wouldn't let the likes of him if he asked to go on, not straight away, but they do. So, like you say, when he's saying like choose to defend them, same as in the Beast Hall. For the simple fact as well, if the normal location Muslim lads did welcome people like that in and protect them, what do you think that would do for them and their reputation inside the system? Because obviously they've got a big rep and the way that they do things inside of prisons, and they stick together. And they do, obviously it's the Muslim gangs on the normal location wings don't just have it with each other. They obviously have it with some of the serious top lads, the white lads, obviously when they're getting up to things inside a prison. They still associate with other gangs who aren't Muslim. So that would tarnish the reputation for anybody else if they were accepting child killers onto the wing. So Leon, did he get natural life? If not, he's still getting it when he gets out. So he got life with a minimum term of 40 years, but I believe I can't remember what age he was. I think he's around about nearly 50. So he'll not be seeing the outside again once he's there, served them 40 years. He'll not live to see 40 years. So Phil Wright says, do you think Bellfield would attack Sharif as he killed kids and they both are Muslims? Well, Bellfield done the same. he killed Millie Dowler. She was 13-year-old. Little Urfan Sharif was 10-year-old. There's not a lot of difference. They're both as bad as each other. So I'd imagine you'd be looking at, well, not so much looking after them, but obviously because they're both in the brotherhood, they'll be having it with each other, going to prayers Friday, prayers or whatever you call it together Friday, because that's what day it is inside of prison when they're all can meet up and go down to prayers. So why is Axel still walking around? He's not walking around. He's in Belmarsh prison under protection, the highest protection you can get inside of prison, off the screws. He's in that unit in Belmarsh prison, and he's got at least a handful of screws watching him. He'll be in the constant watch cell. Obviously, with him being so high profile, they need to keep him protected, not just for his protection, but for the screws' jobs and the governors. If you think about it, if anything happens to him on their watch, the governor will be fucking sacked. He'll lose his job. The screws that are on duty will lose the jobs. And obviously, they're in there for a reason, to work, to make money for the families. They're not going to jeopardize their livelihood to let someone get at him at the moment. It will happen further down the line, because it does happen in the high security prisons. The screws turn a blind eye to let these creatures get a bit of prison justice. But obviously, it's not going to happen straight away because obvious reasons. They don't want to lose the job, and it's too high profile. So Alex says, I think that's the main reason Bellfield converted to Islam. Absolutely. Obviously, when you're in prison, whether it's on the VPs or the normals, the only big gangs in there really are the Muslims. So if you join the Muslims, if you convert to Islam, you're then one of them, and you are then protected, and you will not be alone. That's why a lot of them are doing it, so they're not alone, and they feel as though they've got that protection. And if one of them, or if someone decides to attack them, or if someone's plotting up to get them on the wing, then with there being a lot of them, someone's going to find out about it, and then they protect them. So Axel going to Broadmoor, best not be. No one knows yet. It's a possibility. Obviously, he's going to be or feel safer in them type of prisons. But look back all them years ago, Peter Sutcliffe, when lost his eye, when he got attacked, that was inside of Broadmoor. So there is people in them prisons as well. It's not a prison, it's a hospital. There is people in the hospitals as well who will get them when they get the chance. So Raoul Duke says, where's the bloody British gangs? So the reason as well, in the high security prisons, with the Muslims having so much of a stronghold, the white lads, not even the white lads, the black lads, the non-Muslims, I'll refer to them as, the non-Muslims don't want to get involved or have Rick with the Muslims, because any of the 5 high security prisons you land in, predominantly the gang or the biggest number gang or the biggest members is the Muslim gangs. So even if there was a handful of white lads or non-Muslims that stuck together, which does happen, then the screws disperse them. They get moved on to different prisons. The non-Muslims who have had fights with the Muslims, or then the minority again, they're going to land in a wing with 40, 50, 60 Muslims, and they're by themselves. And this is why no one wants to get involved in any of that type of trouble or beef inside the high security prisons. Because, like I've just mentioned, in fact, I'll tell you a little story. when I was in Frankland prison. The screws done this on purpose. When I was in there was a lot of racial divide. There was a lot of animosity going on between the Muslims and the non-Muslims. There was a couple of little mini riots whilst I was in there. And there was a lad from down Middlesbrough way who was game as a badger. And he had a bit of trouble with the Muslim lads. Yeah, they all got separated. Some of them got put down the block. He came back onto the wing, but then he had a bit of trouble with the screws and he battered a couple of the screws. The screws put him down the block, and the very next day they shipped him down to Long Lawton prison, knowing fine well they were going to put him on the wing full of Muslim prisoners, and his name was on the hit list to be attacked by the Muslims. So the screws purposely sent him down to Long Lawton, knowing that the Muslims would get a hold of him and do him in. And the reason behind that was because he'd battered the screws. The screws, this is how they work. To get a little bit of payback, they thought, right, we're going to send you right down there into the pit full of Muslims where he will be attacked on sight. And that's exactly what happened. He went inside of his pad. 4 Muslim prisoners followed him in, pool balls in sock, bang, over the top of his head, knocked him unconscious on the floor. He woke up in hospital covered in stab wounds. And that's what the screws done to get their payback. Right, I'll just go back on to some of these comments, people. What's this one? Oh, it's screws maybe, but nobody's given cons a ceramic mug, mate. They used to, in prison, they had ceramic plates, mugs, coffee jars, chili bottles. I've done a video on this. That's what, I forget what he was. There was a lad inside of Frankland prison, stabbed the screw up with a hot chili bottle. So you did have all of this inside of prison. They were trying to get rid of it all, but they had coffee, they had mugs, plates, you name it. Ross, thank you very much, pal. Says, get yourself a wee protein bar, Ricky. You know you are hungry. Top man, cheers, pal. Thank you very much, mate. Well appreciated. So Mr. R is saying, Allahu Akbar. Fleeps, the editor, says, why are they allowed mug plates? I mean, do you mean mugs and plates? Like you say, inside of prison, they try to get rid of a lot of this stuff, but you could get ceramic plates, ceramic mugs, and like I've just said, coffee jars. I've seen a lad get stabbed in the neck with a coffee jar full of chili powder. And a lot of people inside the prison used to walk around with these, if anyone's had Encona hot chili sauce, it's a long, thin bottle with a thin neck on. Used to smash the top of the lid off. So you've got a jagged bottle. The bottles are solid, fit in your fist. You used to use that for ramming into people's necks inside a prison. And if you get caught carrying a chili bottle around with you, you can't get done for it because they're on the canteen. So there's ways and means inside a prison to carry to get weapons. But look at what's happening at the moment. The high security prisons. They were on about Long Lawton prison and they were on about HMP Manchester. They're petrified now because of the drones, and the drones are flying in weapons. Inside the Category C prisons, you wouldn't believe some of the tools they've got inside of there. Up in Northumberland when I was there was lads who actually had big carving knives, what they're getting thrown over the fences. Imagine getting set loose inside of a prison with a big old carving knife that had been chucked over the fence. So Alex says, a guy from my town went to Bar L thinking he was hard. He got the coffee jar treatment. They missed his neck and got his jaw. So, like you say, that coffee jar as you can imagine, big coffee jar. The top of the jar was jagged. Ram it in someone's neck, twist it whilst it was in your neck. You can imagine the mess that makes. Right. So Cheap North says, what's the maddest thing you ever seen in Frankland? So anyone who's new to the channel won't have heard this story, but obviously the ones who have been following me channel from the start or for the last year or so will know this story. And the maddest thing I ever seen, I've seen this happen on a couple of occasions, but the first one was Darren Barrett. Now, Darren Barrett, 2 seconds, I'll see if I can get a picture up of him whilst you're on the stream. Bear with us 2 seconds. So Darren Barrett was the head of Al-Qaeda in the UK. And there's his picture there. 2 seconds while I just get it up. Darren Barrett, head of the Al-Qaeda in the UK, who was serving life with a minimum of 40 years. 2 seconds. I've got his picture here. Oh, shit. Pressing the wrong buttons here, and I didn't want the screen to go off. Darren Barrett was... Here's his picture here, people. So there he is there. Darren Barrett in Frankland prison in 2006, I believe it was, when I first landed there. I was in the kitchen with me pal, because you could cook your own food in there. They, believe it or not, you used to be able to buy litre bottles of oil from the canteen. And as I was in the kitchen, there was a pan on the stove bubbling away with about 3 litres of oil in it. My mates, we both looked at each other, said, something's happening here. Some lad came in, picked the pan of hot oil up, went up behind Darren Barrett, tipped it over his head. His hair, his skin, and everything was just peeling off the back of his head. And that was the second day that I was in there. I witnessed that. I looked at it, thought, fucking hell, this is a hellhole. But that was the type of things that was happening in Frankland prison. And a couple of weeks after that, another lad from Newcastle, Malacrudis, if you type it in Google, you'll see it all. Another Muslim, forgetting his name, went up behind him, another terrorist, wanted to get off the wing. He felt vulnerable because there was no other terrorists left on the wing. Darren Barrett was obviously in hospital. So what was he called? Someone Khan. Anyways, he went up behind Malacrudis, tipped a pan of oil over his head. Mala hadn't done anything wrong. He had nothing to do with the other incident. This was also he could get off the wing. And he only got 4 years added on top of his sentence for that, which he ran concurrent as well. So he wouldn't have even had to serve any more time on top. And all of that was so he could get off the wing. Old school Pete says, I knew a guy who got spooned out. He'd robbed a jeweler's by swallowing gems. Other junkies found out and dug them out with spoons, causing internal damage. Fucking hell. I chuckled there because inside of Frankland as well, another story. Most of these stories were in Frankland prison. This is where the maddest of the maddest happened. So in Frankland prison, same as what Pete's just said there, but what happened with this guy, went on a visit, took a parcel for someone. As he's on the visit, he swallowed a load of stuff, subbies, all the hard stuff that they get inside. Swallowed all these on a visit. A couple of days later, it still hadn't come out. They were shouting at him, thinking that he'd actually stole the package because he hadn't shitted it out. So they went and got a couple of bottles of water, 2-litre bottles of water, pinned him on the bed, squirted the bottles up him to try and flush him out. They were in there with the spoons trying to dig the drugs out because there was none on the wing. They were that desperate for them. That was what they resorted to. The poor lad couldn't walk for fucking days. Looked like he'd been well and truly dug out. Right, people. I'll do another. See how many more comments is on here. Right. This is one that everyone's wanting to hear about. Everyone keeps asking questions on the videos that I've done previously. People are still commenting on it. And he says, Brian Turnbull says, Ricky, will Axel have a TV in Belmarsh? Now, he's in the segregation unit. Normally, if you get put in the seg, you do not get a TV unless you're put down there for protection and it's not your fault that you're down there. So the answer is yes, he will have a TV inside of prison. That creature will be sitting in the block with a TV, but it is a separate unit inside of Belmarsh prison where he is, and it'll just be like a normal pad. So he will be having his normal luxuries. He will be getting his normal canteen, and he will be getting everything as normal as if he was on a wing, because he's down there to keep him protected. And sometimes even the prisoner might say, I don't want to be down here, put us back up on the wing, or put us in normal, not that he would go to normal, but put us back with the other prisoners, and he's put on GOAD, good order and discipline, and they get kept down there, obviously against their will. But when they get kept down there like that, they do have the luxuries that the other prisoners on the normal location or on a normal landing or wing would get. So he will have a TV, and he will be getting his canteen, and he will be getting fed as normal. Evolution by Mate cornered off some scousers, and he says he had just rides in a Kinder Egg, but he had multiple things. He shit it out, passed them it, and it was the wrong one. They knew he had more. So that's more or less what I was just on about before, what they've done to try and get it out. Obviously, prisoners, there's nothing on the wing, and they know somebody's got something inside of them. They're going to try their best to flush it out. Right, people, I'm going to leave that one there for now because I have got a couple of more things I need to get on with, and I have got another couple of videos I'm going to make and maybe upload tonight. But if you are just joining this stream now and you're wondering what's going on, put the banner on. This is what this video was all about, as it says in the title, Muslim gang protecting Urfan Sharif. And if you are just joining now, as soon as I finish this video, it will be uploaded. So you can go back and watch the live from the start if you want to. But as usual, people, hopefully you are enjoying that. Hit that like button. Share the video when it's uploaded. And I will catch you on another live some other time, because I know the subscribers and the viewers love having a little bit of interaction and asking questions. So I will try and get these up as much as I can, but I will try and designate a week or a day, during the week that I do these lives. So we do a bit of interaction, and obviously it's good to know what you want to watch. But again, in the comments, let us know which type of videos you want. But there will be plenty of bacon bashes on the channel, because that's what you are all loving. Take care, people. Enjoy the rest of your day.